Dark Crust here, back with another statue review. This we have a custom quarter scale Gladiator from X-Men. This is the first layer of the box. So we have the base, and we have one of the portraits. And it doesn't look like it, but the base is actually huge. I think its diameter is about 18 inches or so, a bit more. Massive. So it just has a picture of the statue essentially, and the edition size, and it doesn't look like it came with an art box. I swear seeing other reviews that it had an art box in it, but this one doesn't. So let's go to the second layer. Here's the second layer. So we have the body and the cape and the second portrait. Sorry, the second portrait has the laser eyes, and it has pretty good protection. It has a cushion in front of it to prevent it from leaning forward, and then another cushion to prevent it from rocking side to side. And then we have the cape, which had several layers of foam holding it down, and the body, which also had several layers of foam. So yeah, big, huge character, it seems. It's massive. So let's go to the review. I'll get this thing assembled, and then I'll provide my thoughts on it. All right, let's get to it. All right, let's take a close-up of the parts. So here's the base. Looks really cool. I mean, it's a rocky type base with some insignia. I'm not sure if that's the Shi'ar logo, but he's landing into it, and it's destroying the crust. Yeah, looks cool. Let's get other parts out. All right, here's the first portrait. It has the laser eyes. I thought these lit up. Oh yeah, you can put batteries in there, so let's light them up there. Oh, it looks really cool. In the video, I mean, through the camera, I guess this one looks brighter than this one, and it kind of is in person. Can't really tell though, especially when displayed. It's probably going to display like this almost. So yeah, it looks really cool. Very cool. And like I said, when I was this part here is extremely fragile. I barely touched it, came off, so I'm gonna have to glue that part in later. It pretty much, the laser kind of comes down a bit more. Yeah, it looks really cool. It's painted really well, really good detail. All right, so let's get the other portrait out. All right. Here's the second portrait. His mouth is closed. You can see his like yellow eyes. So this one looks really cool. Purple's getting a bit washed out in the video, but yeah, it's a nice purple, and yeah, they have some weight to it, and you can see like his veins on this side. It's really nice portrait. The body's too big for me to show up close. I'll do that when we do the review. But yeah, everything about this is very high quality. All right, let's get to it. Another statue over here. This one is a custom Shi'ar Gladiator from the X-Men comics. I think this one specifically is part of an Annihilators line. So yeah, it comes from a custom group. They make their characters, like really bulky, comic book looking. To me, though, he looks like he's a bit overscaled. I mean, he is massive. Like, I'll post, at the end of the video, I'll put him next to, like, Sideshow Silver Surfer. But, yeah, he just looks really large. Like, I think I measured from the bottom of the base to the top of his cape. It's, like, 26 inches. But overall, his body is just, like, huge. Like, anyway, Gladiator is again from the X-Men. He showed up in X-Men 107, I think, where the X-Men, Jean Grey had became the Phoenix, and there was that whole Phoenix storyline going on. And Gladiator is actually the leader of the Shi'ar Imperial Guard. Shi'ar are pretty much like kind of like Star Trek. They're like the United Federation of Planets. They have like a bunch of alien races that are part of the Shi'ar Empire, but they're all controlled by the Shi'ar, which are like a bird-like species. And they have like the Imperial Guard is almost like the Justice League of of their civilization. So they have all these super powered aliens, and Gladiator is a Strontonian. So if he's pretty much like one of Marvel's Superman type characters. So his name is actually Kallark. So it's a combination of Kal-El and Clark, and he's a Strontonian, and he went through these gladiator trials where if he passed the training, he would one of them would receive the title of Gladiator, and Kallark did, and I think he did by killing the council, the Strontonian council, per the Shi'ar emperor. So once he did that, they imbued him with even more power. So he pretty much has all the same powers as Superman. He's invulnerable. He has super speed. I think he has X-ray vision, microscope vision, heat vision, freeze breath, and he's extremely fast. So so let's just give him a twirl. I first saw him in the X-Men animated series, which I think a lot of us did in the 90s, where the X-Men are battling Juggernaut and Black Tom on Muir Island, and they get tossed around by Juggernaut, and they meet him outside, and then you see someone flying in, and when he lands, it's this guy with the mohawk. So the cool thing that happened in that is Juggernaut punches him, nothing happens. He picks up Juggernaut by his arm, and then throws him off the island, essentially like that. Then he proceeds to just toss aside the X-Men fairly easily. So and then Phoenix comes and throws him out into space. But so he's extremely powerful. In the actual first appearance he has in X-Men 107, he doesn't have that intro. So that was totally unique from the animated series. And he doesn't really do much. He's just kind of in the background. He doesn't really do much until I think is it X-Men 139 or 140, where they fight over what's going to happen with Jean and the Phoenix. And he fights in that comic. He fights Colossus and easily beats him. And it pretty much parallels the same thing as him fighting Rogue in the animated series. So later, he's part of the Annihilators, and I also read him in, I guess, the Grant Morrison's new X-Men run, where he attacks the mansion per Xavier controlled by Cassandra Nova, and then he also appears in Mighty Thor, where Jane Foster's Thor, and then they have Shi'ar gods and stuff like that, and he pretty much wrecks the Asgardians in that comic. But yeah, he's extremely powerful. So not much to say. So let's look at the base. Looks like he landed here and is crushing the floor. His feet are all in there. His legs, everything about him is massive in terms of the musculature. His veins are protruding out. Lots of texture in the costume. In the red parts, not only the white, the blue that you can see here, but there's texture in the red. You can see seam lines here, veins popping out everywhere. So extremely detailed. Look at the cape. Everything has some type of texture to it, and he just has an angry look on his face. It looks pretty cool. One thing that looks kind of not comic accurate is his cape. It's flowing up, but it doesn't seem like it comes down all that long. It looks maybe comes down to here if it were to flow down, maybe middle of his leg. But I think it's supposed to go down to his ankles. But yeah, again, it would be a massive cape. But yeah, so let's go around. It's very hard to turn. It's really heavy. But yeah, look at the back. Huge. So yeah, so let's see. Let's get out the other portrait now. I got this off a collector on, I first saw it on eBay, and then he ended up posting it on Facebook. So I reached out and tried to, get a deal on it. It did come with, the second portrait has laser eyes, and it was repaired at the factory. And right now, when I just took it out to get a display, you know, like I barely touched part of the laser and it like broke off. So I'm just gonna show it anyway. I'll repair it on my end, but yeah, it's a goof on my part, you know. So if you do get this, those lasers are very fragile. So let's get the second portrait. All right, so here's the second portrait. So you can see like I have a little piece of the laser here. You can see where it got repaired at the factory right here. I barely touched it there and it came right off. So that's a mess up on my part. But yeah, it's very fragile. Also have the black suit Superman from the same custom company. And for the second portrait, the laser eyes get magnetized in. They come separate. So they probably learned from this one because I think this one predates that one. So they probably learned from this one. And if you look here, it doesn't really, it magnetizes in, but it could fall really easily. So when I get around to displaying this, I'm probably, even though I like this portrait, I'm not going to display it. Or you know what, I may try to sand down the paint on the magnet and then see if I can push it in a bit more. And, you know, I don't know what I can do, but I think the magnet is just weak. So, yeah, so here's another look. You can see, I mean, pretty much hides it, but you can kind of tell it's not really going in all the way. Yeah, so I'm going to take this portrait off as soon as I can, just showing it for everybody. Yeah, he looks really cool. So if you guys are interested and you do find this in the secondary market, yeah, and if you're a fan of Gladiator, yeah, it's a very cool. Like, he looks enraged. He looks like he's going to, like, tear somebody apart. And Gladiator is not like, even though he's modeled power-wise after Superman, he's not Superman. So, like, he does kill people. Like, he takes people out. So, yeah, I think in one comic, it was like some Quasar comic where he actually fights Hyperion. Hyperion's another version of Superman that Marvel has. And in that one, they're a bit stalemated for a few panels, but then Gladiator gets his back and just breaks his neck, you know. I think Hyperion, you know, he's something like Superman, right? So, like, you know, once he got Sun, whatever, like, Gladiator took him after being defeated. I think, like, you know, he ended up healing himself. But, yeah, he does break his back there, so he's extremely powerful. Of the main Superman and Marvel, so we have Gladiator, Hyperion, Sentry, and I don't know if you'd consider, what's that guy's name? I forget. There's another like Superman type guy. I don't know if you'd consider him that Superman. His powers are, I think, antimatter or anti-power. I don't know, something. I forget what his name is now. Anyway, yeah, so he's really cool. You know, I loved it in my childhood. Like, I can't believe Juggernaut just got like thrown out like that. So next video, I'll put him next to Sideshow Silver Surfer, and then I'll take out my Bowen, and then I'll put him next to that. So hold on. All right, so here he is paired with Sideshow Silver Surfer, and you can see like he is just huge compared to him. And well, he's bending down, but like if he were standing up, he would definitely be taller than him. Let's see if you kind of go like they're pretty much almost side to side. It doesn't look it, you know, in there, but I mean, look, I can barely grab my hand around here where I can completely go around Surfer's leg. Yeah, so it almost looks like one of his legs is almost two Surfer's legs. So, and you know, he's kind of bending back in a way too. I mean, I think he is slightly overscaled. I think he's supposed to be 6'3". I mean, he's not that. He's like Superman, right? I mean, he's in terms of build wise, yeah, he's super powered. But anyway, it does look good. I just need to figure out where I'm gonna put him. Where I thought I was gonna put him is no longer gonna work because he's it goes up 26 inches. So I thought because he was kneeling over and stuff, like I could get him into that spot, but it doesn't look like that's gonna happen. So I may have to put him in the box for a bit until I can figure out some space on top of my shelf. But yeah, so let's let me get this portrait out. You know what? Yeah, let me get this one out. Okay, so let's get this portrait off and put it to Surfer. So yeah, he's clearly whiter, bigger, and Surfer's not a short character either. He's pretty big. I mean, I think he's also supposed to be like around 6'3". So anyway, yeah. So you know, you get what you pay for. I mean, he's really big. So yeah, you know, it does fit. You know, you can make it fit a quarter scale collection. You know, next to large characters. But I think it almost seems like he probably fits more of a third scale. Like just looking at him in front of me next to that dark side up there, that dark side is more third scale than anything. And they'll probably compare pretty well. Like Gladiator would still be smaller, but he would look, you know, like he scales well with them. But yeah, so this is him next to Surfer. So let's just pull out again. Yeah, and again, like I tried to bring Surfer forward, so essentially almost their torsos are in line with each other. And you can just see how Gladiator, how much bigger he is. So, yeah, I mean, even if I like bring him a bit more forward, I know it's like 2D, right? I mean, but like trying to do it in video, like it's very hard to see, but he is a bit bigger. So not, I mean, I don't know, it could be like 1.35 scale maybe, but definitely a bit larger than a fourth. So anyway, he does look really cool. They look pretty awesome together. Yeah, so let me get my Bowen out and we can just look at both of those side by side. All right, so here is the custom Gladiator next to the Bowen Designs Gladiator. Still love my Bowen Designs Gladiator. I mean, I think it shows his power, him flying up, and it's a classic costume design. So let's go through what I was saying earlier. Is his portrait here? Let's try to focus. Goes into like a widow's peak, and that's generally what he looks like now. But originally, his mohawk kind of came out flat in front of that. There was like no widow's peak, and I kind of went back through X-Men 107, and yeah, it's more like this. This was like the original design with it being flat. So comic accurate wise, the Bowen design's obviously more accurate, and that's what they were going after. Yeah, so his cape goes all the way down to almost his ankles, so it's really long, whereas this one doesn't seem like it goes as long. Obviously the Bowen designs, it's, I don't know, it's the reds are a bit more vibrant in there in terms of the paint application. Not to say that the custom is not. I mean, the custom is very well painted. And I think it's just they're having to do with more textures and things like that, so to make them look more realistic. So, you know, whereas the Bowen is comic book gold, this one almost looks like, you know, what gold really looks like, right? So, yeah, I mean, very, very cool. My Bowen one is actually signed and has a sketch made by Randy Bowen, and the sketches of you know, side of Gladiator's head. So whenever I get down to reviewing that one, I'll show all that. So it's really cool. But anyway, yeah. So this is the custom quarter scale Gladiator, and the Bowen Designs Gladiator. So yeah, very cool. Happy to have it in my collection. Just need to figure out how I'm gonna display. Yeah, it's just a bit too tall. Yeah, we'll see if I can start moving some of the DC somewhere else, and see if I can kind of get him to fit on the top shelf. Same with that custom Superman too. Like he's very heavy and it's very tall, so just need to figure that out. And then yeah, we're looking pretty good. Anyway, love it so far. Just wish I could display it. And yeah, just if you do get it, just be careful with that second portrait, and the laser eyes are very fragile. So anyway, thanks for watching.